It started quietly, almost innocently. In July 1518, a woman known as Frau Trophäa stepped into the street and began to dance. There was no music, no festival, just a compulsion she could not resist. She danced for hours, then days, pausing only from exhaustion before starting again. Within a week, more than 30 others joined her. By the end of the month, the number had swelled to hundreds. Men, women, and even children, drawn into a relentless, frenzied dance. Their movements were wild and uncontrollable. Some witnesses described vacant eyes, bodies slick with sweat, and feet swollen and bleeding. The city's leaders were horrified, but also baffled. What was happening to Strasbourg desperate for answers? Strasbourg's authorities turned to both science and superstition. Physicians declared the cause to be overheated blood, a diagnosis rooted in the medical theories of the day. Their prescription: more dancing. Guild halls and markets were converted into dance floors, musicians were hired, and the afflicted were encouraged to dance themselves free of the strange compulsion. But the plan backfired. The crowds grew. The dancing intensified. Some collapsed from exhaustion. Others reportedly died from strokes or heart attacks. The death toll remains uncertain. Some chronicles claim up to 15 deaths per day at the plague's peak, though exact numbers are lost to history. What could cause such a bizarre and deadly epidemic? Over the centuries, scholars and scientists have proposed several theories. One early theory points to ergot, a hallucinogenic fungus that infects rye bread. Ergotism can cause convulsions, hallucinations, and strange behavior. Some historians have linked ergot to other historical anomalies, like the Salem witch trials. But medical historian John Waller argues that ergot poisoning is unlikely. It is hard to imagine people poisoned by ergot dancing for days. The symptoms are usually convulsions and pain, not energetic movement. The most widely accepted explanation comes from John Waller and other modern experts. The dancing plague was a case of mass psychogenic disorder, or mass hysteria. In the early 1500s, Strasbourg was gripped by famine, disease, and intense religious anxiety. The people believed in curses and the wrath of saints, especially Saint Vitus, patron of dancers and epileptics. The psychological stress, combined with superstition, may have triggered a collective outbreak of involuntary dancing. Waller writes, "Such outbreaks take place under circumstances of extreme stress and generally take form based on local fears. In Strasbourg, the belief that failing to appease St. Vitus would lead to a dancing curse was widespread." Some sociologists, like Robert Bartholomew, suggest that the dancers were seeking divine favor or were swept up by the contagious power of communal ritual and fear. In a society where supernatural explanations were commonplace, the sight of one person dancing uncontrollably could quickly draw others into the same behavior. A few researchers have speculated about rare neurological disorders or infectious diseases, but no evidence has ever been found to support these ideas. By early September, the dancing began to subside. The authorities, now convinced of a supernatural cause, led the remaining dancers to a shrine dedicated to Saint Vitus, hoping prayer would break the curse. Slowly, the city returned to normal. But the memory of that summer lingered for centuries. The dancing plague of 1518 was not the first such outbreak in Europe, but it was the most thoroughly documented, and perhaps the most mysterious. Historians still debate the true cause. Was it a physical illness, a psychological contagion, or something stranger still? As John Waller concludes, the Strasbourg dancing plague was a vivid demonstration of the power of belief, fear, and the human mind under extreme stress. It reminds us how little we sometimes understand about ourselves and how easily the extraordinary can erupt from the ordinary. In the end, the dancing plague is a story of bodies in motion, driven by forces unseen, compelled by fear, faith, and the mysteries of the mind. It is a warning from history that sometimes the strangest epidemics are born not from germs, but from the shadows within us all.